Hello everyone and welcome back. This video is a bit of a commentary or response to some feedback and comments I had been getting ever since I posted a series of videos based on my 5 to 10 gallon brew house upgrade project that I had done. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I actually did a project where I actually upgraded my 5 gallon capacity system to a 10 gallon capacity system, and I did a number of videos on that. I put them all in a playlist, and if you haven't seen that, go check that out on my channel. But within that series of videos, there was one in particular on a do-it-yourself immersion chiller, and that was sort of like a bigger immersion chiller than I had before. I upgraded from a 25-foot chiller to a 50-foot chiller, and some of the feedback I got from people was asking me, why did I stick with the outdated or the older or the less effective chilling method of using an immersion chiller, and why didn't I go to the better method of using counterflow or plate chillers? Well, I'm no fool, folks. I know what those are. I know the pros, and I also know the cons of them, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. I chose an immersion chiller for a very good reason, and well, actually for several very good reasons. An immersion chiller has several advantages over these other two systems, and yeah, the counterflow and plate chillers do have a main advantage, is that they do chill the wort quicker. Yes, I'm not contesting that. My contention is because they do it in the manner they do it, there's some detrimental effects to doing that way. All right, so for starters, I chose an immersion chiller because I have finer control over the final pitching temperature. See, the counterflow and plate chillers, they are kind of fixed systems, right? They will only chill your wort down by what I call a delta amount, by a difference based upon the temperature of your water supply, your groundwater, for example. And so if you have a pot of boiling hot wort and your groundwater is warm, you're going to get warm beer into the fermenter because the beer flow, or the wort flows from the hot kettle through these chilling devices, and it chills them by a number of degrees, and it dumps them into the fermenter as is at the temperature they end up being at, and you don't have control over that. So that temperature could actually be higher than you need to pitch your yeast, and so now you have to wait hours possibly to pitch your yeast, and to me that's not better or faster than an immersion chiller. The advantage the immersion chiller has is that as long as your groundwater is cold enough, you can chill that thing down all the way down to your desired temperature, and even lower if you use a recirculating wort chiller or an ice bath. And I did a video again on how to do that if you haven't seen that. But for example, I did a video last January where I chilled a batch of wort down to about 40 degrees or 45 degrees for a lager I made. I wouldn't have been able to do that with a counterflow chiller or a plate chiller. Another big factor that swayed me to stick around with the immersion chiller is the risk of contamination, right? So the disadvantage of the counterflows and the plate chillers is that the beer or the wort passes inside them, and you can't see it. You can't clean it physically. You can't brush them. The plate chillers, some of them you can take apart, but that's also a project itself. But so no matter how much you clean, rinse, soak, flush it, you're not 100% sure that all the old bits are out of there and there's no germs, bacteria, and mold growing in there. And if there are, then that can taint your batch of beer that you spent all day brewing. Now with the immersion chiller, the cooling water passes inside the tubes or the tubing, and the beer is on the outside. So as long as you clean out the outside and you can actually see all the gunk is off of there, and you boil it in the last 15 minutes of your boil, you're all good to go. And the peace of mind that I like that it provides to me makes me want to stick around with the immersion chillers, right? And while the counterflow and plate chillers do chill your wort down a lot faster than an immersion chiller, it is possible, and I've done this, where you can actually chill your wort with an immersion chiller. Not exactly the same, but pretty close. I mean, I've gotten my wort down to pitching temperatures in 15 to 20 minutes now, whereas counterflows might take around 10 minutes, right? So that's not much more for 10 extra minutes of chilling time versus the risk of having to let your overly warm beer in the fermenter now have to sit and chill longer before you can pitch it. I don't see the advantage of saving 5 or 10 minutes chilling wort down with a counterflow chiller versus the unknown of whether or not you hit your pitching temperature or not and have to wait longer to pitch your yeast. I think the immersion chiller has the advantage there. And the way I designed this system in my new kettle, now if you haven't seen it, I bought this 20-gallon spike brewing kettle with an extra port on it and a whirlpool arm. So I actually recirculate this hot wort in one direction while I infuse the cooling water through the immersion chiller in the opposite direction. So I am actually getting a counterflow heat exchange going on. It's just done within the pot. And another reason why I prefer the immersion chiller is the counterflow and plate chillers are siphoning that hot wort and chilling it in line within the other chillers, and then deposits it into the fermenter along with the cold break, right? And that's what you don't want in your beer. You want to leave the cold break in the kettle, and that's what an immersion chiller allows you to do. So when I whirlpool in the kettle, run the immersion chiller in there, the cold break settles out down to the bottom of the pot and ideally into a cone in the center where I can drain or siphon off and away from that cone and leave the cold break in the kettle. However, with the counterflows and plate chillers, that cold break goes right into the fermenter with the chilled wort, and now you either have to leave it in there or rack it again to another vessel. And although the counterflow and plate chillers do chill the wort down in record time, it doesn't chill the entire batch concurrently. It only chills what's passing through the device at the time. While the immersion chiller will chill the beer down as a whole down from boiling down to the lower temperatures. And this is an important point because there are, I think it was DMS, dimethyl sulfide, that can still be being created as the pot sits there waiting to be run through the counterflow chiller, right? So while you are chilling the wort in line a bit at a time, that hot wort still sits in the pot and not cooling down at the same rate, whereas the immersion chiller, you can get that whole pot below that 140 degree-ish threshold to minimize that effect relatively quickly. And those are the reasons why I chose to make another immersion chiller, folks. I mean, we don't have to copy everything the commercial brewers do. I just did a video recently about which type of fermenter you need, and I talked a little bit about the misconceptions of homebrewers that think they have to make things just like the commercial brewers, and so they use conical fermenters. We have to use conical fermenters, right? When a $2 bucket would have sufficed fine for most cases. This is not any different from that. The reason why those commercial brewers use different chilling methods than an immersion chiller is that they have to. Just the sheer volume and economy of scale of mass production requires them to be creative and chill the beer in such a manner that as homebrewers, we're not constrained to having to follow. We can use our own minds and use our own techniques and use better methods, honestly, to chill that wort down and not sort of be a copycat of or a wannabe commercial brewer. We're homebrewers, for crying out loud. So those are my thoughts, and those are the reasons why I did that. I hope that explains and answers your questions. I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback on this, right? Because I know a lot of you out there already, and I know that you don't agree with me. But those, again, it's a commentary video. These are my opinions based upon facts that I've found and experienced over the years. And so I stand by them. But anyway, I do welcome your feedback, of course. Comment down below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're a new viewer and not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. There's a button there somewhere here, right, or down below. And other than that, I will talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out other videos on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe.